reflecting on seasons past and, well, offering up a scary proposition for opposing defenses this postseason.
I think it's the strongest I've definitely felt, and yeah, probably the least sore, least amount of bumps and issues. I mean, I think we all deal with certain things throughout the season, but to be able to have made it through every practice and not be limited in any of them definitely was a change for me. Very welcomed change. So I definitely feel as good as I felt after a season, and I can't even remember.
Well, the Cleveland Browns playing this weekend and playing without safety Ronnie Harrison, one of 8 players currently on the COVID-19 list. He tested positive today and will miss Sunday night's game versus the Steelers. The 6th Brown since Tuesday to test positive. Look now at your schedule for Super Wild Card weekend. Starts in Orchard Park, New York, and ends in Pittsburgh on Sunday night. Home to an opponent who's ended each of the Browns' last 2 playoff appearances, including epic heartbreak back in 2003.
Here comes playoff football back with the Browns. He rolls the pocket right sideline, fires into the end zone. Terrell Davis is there. He's got it. Touchdown!
What a play by Kelly Holcomb.
Shotgun snap, throws it for the goal line. It's caught. There's a touchdown for Pittsburgh. Hines Ward, Mr. Dependable.
And 3 shots at it, huh?
2nd and goal at the 3. Steelers down by 5. They go with a draw handoff. It moves into the end zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers touchdown. Chris Muamatu Ma'afala gets the go-ahead touchdown. How about them apples?
7 seconds to go. Fires the ball. It's caught. Racing to try and get out of bounds. And he did get out of bounds with no time left. Absolute heartbreak.
The Steelers advance, and the Browns don't know what hit them.
I mean, just as we're feeling so good for the Browns here, we got to go and bring back old stuff with Andrew Hawkins back here with us. How about Tommy Maddox and Kelly Holcomb combining for almost 800 yards and 6 touchdowns in that classic back in 2003? Just part of this rivalry, though, Hawk, between the Browns and the Steelers. And in your time with Cleveland, what did that teach you about this rivalry? What did that experience leave you feeling about the Steelers?
There is a deep hate between these 2 organizations. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. My late father signed with the Steelers in 1980. My older cousin, Carlton Hasserig, was an all-pro guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I played for the Bengals for 3 years and played against the Steelers 3 years in the division. And we would have home games, and half the stadium would be Steelers fans. I didn't realize what this rivalry meant until I got to Cleveland. When I got to Cleveland and it was Steelers week, the entire city's vibe was completely different. Like I said, I was raised on Cleveland being the mistake by the lake, and I finally got the other perspective of how much pride Cleveland has in this and the longing for their team to get back to the glory days where they would beat up on the Steelers. It's been one-sided as of late, but these fans don't forget, and they still have that same kind of hatred and rivalry feeling no matter what time of year it is.
All right, so let's try to put a little bit of that bad news to rest here for Cleveland. What advice do you have, Hawk, for this year's Cleveland Browns team to try to avoid a 3rd straight playoff loss to the Steelers?
Yeah, it's actually off the field. Because I think the biggest thing that the Browns need to do is break the big brother mentality, which I think they have the talent to do. Like in years past, when I played there, we would be outmatched. And we would get into games and we would go down and it would feel like, man, there's no way we can contend with the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers. This Browns team this year is completely different. So my advice to them would be go into this game with that confidence. Understand you are just as talented, if not more talented than this football team. And you should come out this way. There is a new dawn. There's a challenging and a changing of the guard in this division. And it starts Super Wild Card weekend.
I mean, we want to talk about all the obstacles that are stacking up for this Browns team, but I feel like this is kind of their jam. They've dealt with that for the last 17 years. Time to go out there and get it done against Pittsburgh. Andrew Hawkins, appreciate your insights on this rivalry. All right, here we go. Wild Card weekend also giving us a rematch of last year's divisional round upset in Baltimore. Titans toppling the #1 seed with King Henry reigning supreme. And, well, Mike Vrabel not shying away from the impact he sees Henry having this go-around.
I think he's very conscious of his ability and you know how he trains and how he prepares, and you know he signs up for for the long haul. And I think when he trains and does all that stuff in the off season and especially during the season as it wears on, that he's prepared to do what he needs to do to help this football team.
I think it's just a different environment. I think we all know what's at stake. You want to go home. And when you win, you keep playing. So I think it's just the like you said, the environment of it. We know it's a big stage. You lose, you go home. You win, you did advance. So I think that's just a thing of it. The playoff atmosphere is different. It feels different.
Back here with Scott Pioli and Terrell Davis. And, well, Scott, you know Mike Vrabel for, you were with him for about 10 years in the league, but with the Patriots in the Chiefs. And while, prior success does not necessarily indicate future success here, I would imagine, based on what we heard from Mike Vrabel talking about how Derrick Henry's built for these types of situations, that he's going to kind of employ the same type of game plan here against this Ravens team?
I would suspect that he does. Again, I spent a lot of time with Mike, as you know, and you mentioned, and he is one of the smartest football players and coaches I've ever been around. He was a coach on the field. And one of the things that he learned during his time with the Patriots was that the best way to beat a dominant offense is to keep them off the field. We used to have to do that against Indianapolis when Peyton Manning was there. And Mike Vrabel knows that. What they've got to do is keep their offense on the field, meaning the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry on the field, not score too quick, as crazy as that may sound, and give the Ravens as few possible chances as they can have. So again, their best defense is going to be their offense. Ball control, and then off of that, what they can do is have play action pass, which is Ryan Tannehill's best kind of passing. He's not a drop back guy. He is best with the play action. So again, I think Vrabel knows what the game plan is, and truthfully, I think the Ravens will, but what they need to do is keep their offense on the field as long as possible.
Well, of course, a lot more difficult for the Ravens to stop Derrick Henry, TD, than it is for Tennessee to actually hand him the ball. Certainly expect that to happen, but how does Baltimore slow down this one-man wrecking crew that wears 22?
Pray, number one.
Bring your friends, number two.
Yeah, hey, King Henry is a beast. I mean, there's things you can do to stop a run game. We always see on this level that if you really want to stop somebody, you can. I mean, the run game is you can commit, 11 guys to the run, whether it's blitz run, a lot of things you can do to try to disrupt the running game. But if you do that, you kind of sacrifice the back end of your defense. So that's not a smart thing to do. I'm going to show you some plays here where in the season there have been plays where teams have been effective in disrupting Derrick Henry. In this game, he had 15 carries, 60 yards, and the Cleveland Browns did a really good job of disrupting him and limiting his attempts. So the thing you can do, as Scott alluded to, was as a team, the Ravens have to have their offense as their defense, meaning keep Derrick Henry off the field. But you see some of these plays here, these are effective sort of run blitzes or penetrating the offensive line and hitting him in the backfield before he gets going. That's one way to do it. But as the game wears on, Derrick Henry gets stronger. And so you have to build some type of lead to get the Tennessee Titans out of their game plan of trying to run the football. Is another thing you can do. So again, it's easier said than done. A lot of teams try it. They're not successful, but it's going to be a battle to see if they can stop King Henry.
Any advice, TD, on how to stop yourself from being on the wrong side of a Derrick Henry stiff arm?
Hey. Yeah, again, go low, man.
Go low. There you go.
Hit your ankles. There you go.
I'm with you on that. Derrick Henry on the verge of some playoff history we'll get to in a minute. 15 years ago, our Willie McGinnis had 4.5 sacks versus Byron Leftwich in the Jags in an AFC Wild Card win, breaking both the single game and career postseason sack records, which of course got us thinking maybe some other records that could fall this Super Wild Card weekend. Willie's old teammate Tom Brady, 6 touchdown passes in a 2011 AFC divisional game. Maybe Eric Dickerson. Maybe this is the record that Derrick Henry is eyeing, 248 yards in a game there. Eric Moulds also with 240 receiving yards, most we've seen in a playoff game for the Bills. Maybe Stephon Diggs has his eye on that record here on this Super Wild Card weekend. TD, you got a record that you might think could fall here this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's Mold's record, 240 receiving yards. And I'm going to say Emmanuel Sanders gets this one. And the reason is Michael Thomas is coming back this week. A lot of the attention from the Bears defense will be on him. We saw last week the Bears defense struggled against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers had them boys just, they couldn't keep up. So now Drew Brees against the Bears, Emmanuel Sanders, that number 2 receiver. We've seen Emmanuel Sanders with the big plays he's made in the Super Bowl. He's made big plays in playoff games. And he's a playmaker. So Emmanuel Sanders, I know he's an old man, but Emmanuel Sanders breaks that record of 240 receiving yards. There you go. He's a